Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is enjoying the sun. Just to make sure, I'm using this mic here. Can you guys hear me? The sun. So let me just make sure. I'm using this mic reduce here. My volume here. Just some technical things to go through. Okay, I'd say everything is ready to rock. Sorry guys if I'm not looking straight at the camera because my computer is quite high, so I'm gonna be looking like this. I hope that's okay for you guys. Just gonna check here our page, and we are ready to rock. So good morning everyone, guys. Thanks for coming here today. Today we're gonna be talking a little bit about a passage of the gospel, which is Jesus calmed the storm. That's why I had on Facebook, understand your own storm. But today we're going to be much more talking about this passage. So before we start, I would like to invite everyone to close our eyes and to do our initial prayer. Okay? So for those who feel comfortable, if you want to close your eyes, take a deep breath. I'd like to thank God, the mentors of SSI, and the Good Spirit for the opportunity to be here on another Sunday, giving another speech, having the opportunity not only to explain a little bit of the gospel of Jesus, but to understand and to internalize myself. Thank God for this wonderful opportunity, for the lives we have. Really hope that this Sunday may be fruitful to each one of us, incarnate and discarnated. Thank God for this time, and so be it. Okay, so we have here Ana Carolina, Gisele, Susana, Neide. Good morning, everyone, and everyone else who is watching us. And thanks again for being here. So today, as I said, we're gonna be trying to study this part here of the gospel. There we are. Let me see, I don't know if you guys can see. So Jesus calmed the storm. For those who doesn't know about this passage actually is in 3 parts of the Bible, which is in Mark, Luke, and John, in different parts here. I have the verses here. But today, since we have a bit more time than what we have on Sundays in the Spirit Center, I'm going to try to read part by part of the parable and trying to explain a little bit what this parable meant according to Spiritism. I used the book, which is called the Deeply Study of the Spiritism Teachings. Sorry for my English speakers, friends, but I don't have this book in English. They haven't published that yet, but I'm going to leave a link in the end. And if I forget, guys, please remember me, where you guys can download these versions in Portuguese. Unfortunately, that's only Portuguese, as I said. But that's a wonderful book where you can understand a little bit more about the parables. As we know, the parables themselves, they are not something literal, or at least they shouldn't be understood as a literal, really as a history, as if it was an event that happened 100% as it was in the Gospels. If you take Mark, Luke, and John in this parable, they have different points of view. This parable itself is quite similar to between 3, but there are parables in the Gospel also, which they are very different between each other. So, but this one is quite similar. But again, it's a parable. So here there is a moral teaching behind. I'm not saying that this event didn't happen. I honestly believe that it happened, but maybe in a different, with different nuances, different aspects. And here the evangelists themselves, they wrote, not them actually, people after them wrote these parables according to their own eyes. It's like if I ask everyone here to see, let's say, this tea which I have with glasses or without glasses, we may see in a different way. Okay, so here because I'm doing all the things here. So let me just go here. Show, yes. So in the parable, in the beginning, the spirits, in the beginning, it says, that day when evening came, he said to the disciples, let's go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him, and a furious storm came up, and the waves broke over the boat, so that was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. Disciples waking up and said to him, teacher, don't you care if we drown? He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, quiet, be still. Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, why are you so afraid and shy? Do you still have no faith? Then they were terrified and asked among themselves, asked each other, who is this that even the wind and the waves obey him? So here, as you guys can see, I left some parts in, in italic, in negrito, just to italic, I don't remember. Italic, negrito, I don't remember. But as you can see, I left in stronger black, just for us to go over. Because this parable, it's quite curious because it shows something which may seem quite impossible to do, which is to control the winds and to control nature. But we're going to be using Spiritism today to explain a little bit more about this. So we're going to go part by part. And here he said to the apostles, let's go over to the other side. What can we understand that what did really Jesus wants to say once he goes that? Let's go to the other side. Let's suppose they were in one side of the lake, because that wasn't a sea. Probably that was the Lake of Galilee, although it is called the Sea of Galilee, but it's more like a lake. Okay, so it's not like a huge ocean. So he could have meant that let's go to the other side. But being Jesus and knowing that that's a parable, we know that a lot of things here, they have different meaning. So when Jesus say let's go to the other side, it's much more like a call for us to change our behavior, but not by ourselves. It's like a call to go to change ourselves with the support of Jesus. But also this change of behavior, it involves a lot of things. You know, it's a spiritual transformation which has come to the apostles, but which will come to each one of us. Doesn't matter if you believe or not. At some stage in our existence, when I mean existence, I'm using the Spiritism basis. So I'm talking about a spirit who reincarnates. Okay, so we're talking here about we are using the incarnation as its basis. We're not just simply saying that we're gonna have to change ourselves in one life. In Spiritism, we believe we have multiple existences. Okay, so independent, doesn't matter which kind of challenge you may face, you have to be sure that in control of life, always there will be Jesus. But again, people, they may come to me and say, Wanderley, but I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I don't believe in anything. So how come can Jesus be in control of my life? We have to use again the Spiritism principles, which explains to us that Jesus is the greatest spirit which ever came to earth. He is our model and guide. Here I'm not talking about the religious Jesus itself. I'm talking about a spirit who has no religion, which came to earth and taught no religion. Let's say, if we could claim that he taught a religion, would be the religion of love, of tolerance, of peace, of care for one another, but not a religion in a dogma, in a traditional sense that humanity sees. So that's why he's directing, because it's not about religion, it's about a spirit who knows more than us. It's a spirit who wasn't created better than us, but perhaps was created before, and he went through his own challenges in his existence, which we have no idea where it was. Emmanuel says to us in the book In the Way of the Light, A Caminho da Luz, that the words which Jesus passed his trials, the words that he evolved, these words, they don't exist anymore. So we are talking about a long, long time ago. And according to Spiritism also, Jesus is the governor of Earth since Earth was created. So we are talking about 4.5 billion years. And Jesus was already, according to the Spirit's book, a pure spirit at that time. So once he says to us, let's go to the other side, it's a change of behavior, which requires time, tolerance, not only to the others, but to ourselves also. Because sometimes we say in the Spiritist movement that we have to be nice with each other, we have to tolerate our neighbor, our friends, our family, our boss. How about ourselves? Do you tolerate yourself? When each day you are still committing the same mistakes that you have been committed for your entire existence in this life, and maybe you have been carrying these throughout existences, do you look at your mirror and do you try to be tolerant with you? When I mean tolerant, I'm not saying that you should accept and say, I am this way and that's it. No, I'm not saying that, guys. But there are some mistakes, there are some vices that we built inside of ourselves, Emmanuel explains to us, that takes several incarnations for us to leave that vice, that downside of us behind. So imagine like this. You haven't been, like Chico Xavier said, once he went to a prison, that he was praying for the prisoners. And the guy said, but Chico, these people, they killed a lot of people. Why do you care about them? And the Chico explains to them that, my son, you should be happy, because in this life, maybe that one, he pointed to someone, if I'm not mistaken, he killed only 5. If you see what I could see, that in the previous reincarnations, this man here himself was killing hundreds and maybe thousands of people before. I'm not saying to kill is a progression, but Chico Xavier could see that spirit in his own level, in his own path, he was improving. Not in the way that sometimes we expect someone or ourselves to improve, but he was improving. Okay? Because the Spiritism explains to us that each one of us, we have our own time. So when Jesus said to us, let's go to the other side, maybe someone who heard him that time wasn't ready to go to the other side. Even the apostles themselves who were in the boat with Jesus, maybe, I'm not saying that there was someone there, but maybe there was an apostle there who didn't really grasp the idea yet, or maybe took several years to understand what Jesus really wanted to say. So to go to the other side using the Spiritist teachings, it's a call for us to change, okay? But it's not a forced call. It's a call which the biggest, the most wonderful tool that the Spirit gives to us is time. Time equals reincarnation for us to improve, okay? And then he keeps going in the parable. Once he goes, and in the parable it says after that there were also other boats with him. So Jesus was there in that side of the lake. He asked the apostles to go, and he went. And there were other boats with him. So maybe there were other followers, which weren't the 12 apostles, which were following. But once we go deeply using Spiritism, the Spiritist teachings, we may understand that here we have to understand that the spiritual evolution or the lack of spiritual evolution affects those around us even if we don't want that to happen. Let's simplify. What I'm saying is like this: once you evolve yourself, you become like a light, like a candle, like you have, I forgot the part of the gospel which says this, but you have, once you progress, once you become better, everyone around you, they start to see, they start to understand, wow, look at this one, that one, doesn't matter who, that person is becoming better. Wow, that's nice. You start to inspire people, you know, and that change can be something quite powerful. Mahatma Gandhi said that if only one heart, he's not talking about a nation, he's talking about only one person. If only one person finds pure love in their hearts, what I mean pure, I don't know, even Gandhi didn't know what pure love means, but the closest pure love to him, let's say, because pure love is something that I guess humankind will take a while to really um feel, you know. But Jesus was the one who brought to us this pure love. That's something that we cannot forget also. But Gandhi keeps saying that only if one person reaches this stage of goodness, that thousands of people, they will be illuminated by them, and it might neutralize the evil on that people. But also, sadly, in the opposite way, it works in the same direction. Once you get someone who's doing a lot of evil, okay, that only one person may spread that hate among the others, and sometimes we see a nation being completely, um, what's the word now? Completely forgot. A nation starts to become like a puppet. You know, they follow that person. Of course, I'm gonna give the classical example as Adolf Hitler. You see what one man could do with the entire Europe. You know, but of course, we had people before him, great generals. You know, we had in the Roman Empire people like Alexander, Julius Caesar. You know, so some people they have this power on them. If it's for good, you can do a lot of good. If it's for evil, also you can damage. So we cannot cross the other side as Jesus asked us alone. Even if we think we are alone, the Spiritist book explains to us that even the person, the most poor person in the world, a person who haven't seen any other human being on earth, let's say a person who is born in a Virgin Island, and that person is there, and that person haven't seen any other form of human being, any other human, you know, maybe have seen animals but not a human. Even that person is not alone, because the Spirit's books explains to us that each one of us, we have our mentor, our guide. We have spirits around us who are supporting us. So once we have to go to this moral change, we are not alone. But of course, here I'm gonna try to use more the normal aspect of light, because most of us, it's, let's say we have 1% of, I don't know, the entire population of the entire world who haven't seen, I don't think there is anyone in the entire world who haven't seen anyone, because first, for you to be born, you have to be born of a mother. Maybe you are taken from your mother, but you know, there were people around you. That's what I'm trying to explain. So we are never alone, normally in the physical life, and the spiritual light for sure. But this cross, that's this part of the gospel says to us, that it's saying we need one another to progress. That's the aspect which I want to bring. So we cannot cross alone. We cannot progress alone. We need to progress. I'm gonna give an example. Okay, imagine myself, Wanderley. A lot of people here, they know me. They know how difficult person I am. Okay, and I have had issues with a lot of people who are watching this live at the moment. Not big issues, but you know, I have a strong temper, and so they know that how not easy is to deal with me sometimes. But myself and as everyone else, for us to lapidate this aspect of our personality, we need the other. How can you build patience if you don't have someone like me to test your patience? How can you become someone who is more charitable if you don't have situations where you can apply charity? How can you become someone who needs to improve your knowledge, your intellectual knowledge, if you don't have other people maybe to teach you? Of course, we can teach by the internet and everything. We can learn by the internet and everything nowadays. But in general, for everything, we're gonna need someone to support or to be our kind of gear, which keeps us turning or pushing us to progress. I hope that makes sense. But all spirits are called to make this transition of our hearts. When you talk about, we are now in the transitory world, we are going to words of expiations. We are going to a regenerated world. It's not Earth which is progressing. The worlds they progress, but according to Kardec in the Spirit's book, the worlds progress because of the beings who are there. So once the spirits who are inhabiting that world, they become better, the world itself starts to become better because the surrounds start to change. So the change must be in our heart. Okay, in the Genesis chapter 18, the Spirit explains to us that this time of change has come already. Let me see here. So, and after a furious storm came up and the waves broke over the boat. So that's quite easy to explain. So they were there in the boat. After a few hours, there was a lot of storm. It came and the boat starts to shake. And the disciples, they were afraid, But that's quite clear that this means the difficulties that we face in certain point of our life. Because as we all know in the Gospels also, we have the passage, the narrow gate, a porta estreita. So sometimes we see someone else facing a challenge and we think that's nothing. But for that person, that is the most difficult challenge which that person will face in that existence. For us, it's nothing. That's why we have to have empathy to understand that difficult which someone may have is difficult for them. I shouldn't go there and say, it's nothing. Come on. Like someone who have depression. You're just like, how you call in Portuguese? I don't remember how people they say in Portuguese, but sometimes we say that person doesn't want nothing, in their life. That's why they have depression. But some people, they really have that problem in their brain, in their hormones. So each one of us will face, difficult. But these challenges that we're going to be facing, according to the gospel, according to Spiritism, they are caused by our imprudent actions, lack of knowledge, most of the time because we are still full of selfishness and pride. So most of the difficult tasks that we have is because of us. Not most, all of them, they are because of us. If it's not from this life, it is naturally from a previous life. Otherwise, God wouldn't be that nice guy that we say in Spiritism he is. So everything which happens because with us, most of the time, it's connected with selfishness and pride. That's something that we have to bear in mind also. Okay, so this part I'm not going to really stay long. And here, it's a quite interesting part. Actually, Jesus was there. He was sleeping in the boat. And Jesus was there. It's quite funny, at least for me, when I read that Jesus was sleeping. And the boat was there. There was a lot of storm. And he was simply sleeping. And I said, okay, how come could someone sleep in a difficult situation? And the apostles go there and say, Jesus, don't you care about us? Don't you care that if we drown? And it may seem for some that Jesus didn't care about his disciples, which, if he didn't care, would go against his teachings of fraternal love and the necessity to help one another. So let's think. If you think about Jesus, who since he started his ministry, he starts to preach. And even before he was 30 years old, once he went to preach, Humberto de Campos in the Boa Nova, no, I don't remember which book it was, but I think in the Boa Nova also, and Humberto de Campos in other parables that he brings to us, He explained that Jesus, since he was small, he was helping everyone around him. He didn't start to help people around him once he was 30. He did, but the biggest events of his ministry came after he was 30. So if someone like him was helping everyone around him, it would go against him, the way that he lived, if he just left his apostles who were his friends. So that doesn't really make sense. We have to understand that Jesus used this situation as an educational opportunity to teach the apostles a lesson of faith, that even in calamitous situations in life, we should try to remain calm because of the certainty that God is a Father of infinite love and wisdom. That's why Jesus was asleep in the boat, because he knew who was God. What was God, according to Kardec? Not who, but what. What was God? So because he knew what was God, he understood what I said before, that anything which is happening on earth is for the good of earth, and anything which is happening with us is for our good, even the painful times. It's good for what, Wanderley? Why is good for someone to suffer? To progress as a spirit. Maybe this progress we won't see in this life that we are living now. But once you think about reincarnation, once you see the reincarnations, you understand that everything comes to help us, to teach us. That's why Jesus was cool. Let's say everything was burning around him, everything was exploding, and he was okay, because he knew that storm wouldn't harm them. And even if it would harm them, that was for their good. I don't know if it makes sense. That's why Stephen, our friend here, always talk about reasoned faith. That's why we have to always keep going back to reasoned faith. Because we have to understand like this: if your faith is not based in dogmas, if your faith is based in reason, we have to, again, I'm going to go back to understand that God is a Father of love and wisdom. So nothing that is happening is just for fun of God, of the spirits, whatever name you want to give. It's happening to fulfill some kind of good that perhaps we are not yet ready to see. That's why in the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 19, item 7, Kardec says, and that's Kardec, okay? Rationalized faith, when it's based on facts and logic, leaves no doubts. Then the person believes because they are certain, and no one can be certain unless they understand. So you see, for us to have this reasoned faith that we always talk in Spiritism, we have to have the knowledge. We cannot just have this reasoned faith without studying. That's why in the Spiritism movement, in the Spiritism teachings, we always bring the importance of studying, not only the works of Kardec, but the works of Kardec in this case. I honestly believe that it's the best to give to us certain explanation. But let's not forget the gospel, the Bible itself. Because some people in the Spiritist movement, they only go for the works of Kardec. And people who are only going for the work of Kardec, normally, I'm not saying that's a rule, they go to Spirit's book, Genesis, they go to all books, but not really much on their gospel according to Spiritism, because it deals more with the religious aspect of Spiritism, okay? But we have to understand that there is no, and that's an affirmative, there is no Spiritism without Jesus. So Spiritism wouldn't exist if there wasn't a Jesus before. There wasn't Jesus before here, because in the Gospel according to Spiritism, we have the Spirit of Truth, which some people they claim was Jesus, and some people in the Spiritism movement they claim that there are spirits which Jesus is coordinating. But doesn't matter if it's Jesus or are the spirits which he's coordinating, but there are spirits that only are there because of him, because of Jesus. And why? Because again, he's the raw model. He's the model for humanity to improve. Okay, so we have to understand that we should go back more to the Bible, and forget about if Jesus walking in the water. Forget if Jesus he changed the water into wine. Let's go back to the moral aspect of it. If we go to the moral aspect of it, these parts of the Bible, which for us seems quite strange, they won't really matter to us because we are looking at the moral aspect. Okay, let me just see here how it is. So everything seems fine. Good. Let's keep going here. So in the second part of this item 7, it says, this is why they are unshakable, because unshakable faith is that which can stand face to face with reason, with all epochs of humanity. So if you base your faith in reason, okay, if you base your faith in using science quite a lot, I'm not saying that you should. It's not about forget one or use the other. It's to unite science, religion, and philosophy. That's why Spiritism always bring these aspects to us. But if your faith is based on reason, it can challenge. Not someone, but it can be stronger in any time of humanity, because you are always basing your faith with the knowledge that humanity is developing. So that's why an unshakable faith is the only one which can stand with time, and that's from Kardec, and that's not from the spirits, by the way. And then a strange part comes to us. Once Jesus, he was there, he was sleeping, the apostles came to him and said, "Come on, master, do something for us, save us." Who among us doesn't do the same in a difficult time? Some people, they say, "Oh, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in anything." But once things, they start to get hard, what do? God, please. If they are Christians, they say Jesus. If they are Muslim, they go to Allah. If they are Buddhist, they go to Buddha. Doesn't matter. They go to their closest faith, which they learned. They go to what was taught to them, perhaps once they were little, or to whatever they feel it's closer to their heart. But most of the time, a lot of people, when in a difficult challenge, they do what the apostles did. They go and search for help. And Jesus wake, and I said, he starts to see all the guys crazed, older men than him. Peter was older than Jesus, strong guys there, like a child, almost crying, And he goes and tell the wind, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. This part of the parable, some people, they say, you see, that's the religious thing which I don't like, because how come can someone go there and say to the wind to calm down, to the wind to stop? And in this case, we shouldn't interpret it as a miracle, but perhaps that Jesus had certain knowledge of nature's elements that we don't have yet. So Jesus there, he had a knowledge that we still don't have. In this case, we have more or less, which is magnetism, okay, which you can see in the Obras Posthum works, in the Obras Posthumas, in the Spiritist book. You can read more about magnetism. But maybe, again, he had some kind of knowledge that we didn't have, the apostles didn't have. It's the same if you use the internet. I always use this example. If you take your mobile phone, which can talk to anyone around the world nowadays, in the time of Jesus, people, they would think you're crazy. If you were in the Middle Ages, they would burn you at the stake, as they did with the witches in Europe. So this knowledge which Jesus presented to us is a knowledge which humankind is still developing. But here in the Spirit's book, chapter 9, It explains the intervention of the spirits in the physical world and the role of the spirits in the natural phenomena. Questions 536 to 540. In these questions here, to summarize, the spirits books explains to us that there are spirits who look after nature and the nature events such as storms, earthquakes, rain. But of course, it's not like there is a spirit upstairs, shall we say, and say, let's rain, bling. No, it's not like this. All these spirits, they obey natural laws created by God. Natural laws we call science. The closest we can call to the natural laws of God is science. It's not because science we don't know 100% yet, and we don't know natural laws 100% yet. But the closest we can grasp is science in natural law. So the spirits books explains to us that there are spirits who are looking after these things. But again, let's go back to the beginning. Jesus, he's the governor of earth, the highest spirit, morally speaking, which ever came to earth. So if there are spirits who look after certain aspects of nature on earth, probably they are below Jesus. So let's use these simple terms. They are his soldiers, okay? So I'm not really gonna go to this aspect much, but if anyone wants to go a bit further to study about these spirits, question 536 to question 540, it explains quite well. But today here, I'm gonna be focusing more in the moral levels, the moral aspect of the parable. That's why the spirits themselves, they didn't hear Jesus just because Jesus is the governor. It was because of his moral levels. That's why sometimes in a mediumship meeting, we see people who are talking to the spirits who say to the spirit, "Go, spirit, leave this body." And the spirit goes, look at the person, "I'm not leaving." Or we sing the Pasman priest say, "Go, spirit, leave this body. Go, Satanas, evil, leave this body." And the spirit stays there, stay there. Okay, sorry for the joke, but what I'm trying to say that what the spirits they hear is not what you say with your mouth, but they see your very spirit, your moral levels. That's why the spirits of nature, they didn't hear Jesus because Jesus is the oldest spirit. It was because of his moral levels. That's what made the spirits to obey his commands. And here, going back to the parable, in the end, after Jesus make the storm calm down, Jesus comes to the apostles and say, "Why are you so afraid and shy? Do you still have no faith?" It's like Jesus saying to them, "Come on, guys, you are eating with me, you are drinking with me, you are seeing what I'm doing, and do you still have no faith on me?" Or not on me as a person, because Jesus was wearing a physical body. So let's put him as a person, but he's the highest evolved spirit, as I said today here, maybe 20 times already. But let's say if you were there beside him, and if you were still in doubt, Jesus could say, "Come on, after everything I've done, you still have no faith?" But it's normal sometimes for us, in our boat of life, we feel despairing and doubt. Of course, anyone who is having a difficult challenge, any father who is seeing their child with cancer, or anyone who is having a difficult time to pay their mortgage, anyone who loses someone that loved suddenly in a car crash or anything like this, of course that person is gonna feel in despairing and doubt, because they're gonna look above and say, "Come on, God, if you are so good, why did you allow that to happen? If you are so good, God, why you didn't create us all good and perfect? Why did you make me simple and ignorant for me to be suffering throughout reincarnation?" But we have to understand the God which Spiritism brings to us is the God of time, is the God which wants us to progress by our own efforts. Not only because, bling, I created you guys simple and ignorant, no, I created you guys perfect, and that's it. No, he wants us to be part of its creation. He wants us to progress by our own efforts. That's why um, the spirits, that's why God created us in this way, for us to become part co-creators, like André Luis say, co-creators in, of course, in smaller proportions. Jesus is a co-creator, but Jesus is a co-creator in a higher proportion. But he wants us to be part of this. But the teachings of Jesus and Spiritism cannot make our difficult times to vanish, but they can give us rational faith and a certain that God is pure love. And knowing that God is a pure love, how come can we conceive that God would harm us? Again, going back to what I said here today 30 times. If God is good, God is love, and He's the infinite wisdom in the universe, He's a father also. And which father wants to see their children suffering? But a father who wants the best for their children, sometimes a father allows that children to pass through some difficult situations for that children to learn by itself. But that father would never go away, say, okay, go and suffer what you have to suffer in life. I don't care. And if you are still alive, come back to me. No, that father would be only looking there, watching that children to see what they are doing. In a really difficult time, that God may intervene. When I mean intervene, I'm not saying that once you are in a difficult time in life, God's going to come to us and say, Pling, I'm here. Let me save you. No, that's not what the Spiritism says to us. When I mean intervention, God will give to us the strength that we need. And if we open our eyes, if you have our rational faith, because we know that God is love, so we have the knowledge to understand more or less, what God wants for us, we will understand that that storm will pass. That difficult time will pass, like everything that in our life we suffered before passed already. People, they forget when they are in a difficult situation, that sometimes they have a difficult situation before. Some of us, we think we are in the in the most challenged time of our life now, because some people, they lost their job with the coronavirus, and as I said, it's a really understandable pain which that person is suffering. Some people lost someone due to the coronavirus, but so many people before also, so many people who were in the concentration camps, they were there, they were suffering, but they understood that that would pass, and if that was happening with them, there was a reason. Maybe they didn't understand the reason, but they knew that God was someone good. Like the first Christians, once they were in Rome, they were being burned at the stake, or they were eaten by lions, they were singing. They were singing. Why they were singing? Because their hearts found that faith. Of course, that time there was no science almost, but that faith was more related to what they were feeling in their heart. But the principle was the same. God is good. If He's good, this is happening for a bit. This is happening because of something bigger, which I don't know how to grasp yet. But that will pass. That's what they understood. That's why we should be more like Jesus in a difficult time, not sleeping as if we didn't care, but to remain calm, doing our best to live that difficult situation, to pass to this difficult time, but understand that will pass. And here we have in the Emmanuel says to us in the book Living Spring, Fonte Viva, that faith is a feeling that can be developed using the strength of will, knowledge, and virtues. So he's saying to us that faith is something that we built, that we make it to become stronger, using our knowledge and our virtues, but using our will to do it. That's why some people say to me, "Ah, Wanderley, but I have no faith. I was born without faith." And I used to say that myself, but maybe they didn't know that faith is something they have to build themselves. I always say it's like a muscle. If you want to go to the gym, you want to be strong, you have to keep training that muscle, as you have to be feeding and training your faith also. Therefore, the human soul is in the 20th century, is the human soul in this 20th century of Christianity, it is enlightened, and it is an enlightened conscience, for the reason in full battle for the conquest of illuminative values. So he's basically saying to us what Kardec said in the Gospel according to Spiritism and in the Genesis also, that humankind, we are in a kind of adult stage already. Since Jesus came to us, we cannot say anymore, I didn't know. I had no idea what was going on. But people, they say, but I'm a Muslim. Jesus didn't come to my people. I'm a Buddhist. Jesus didn't come to Asia. But his teachings went everywhere. Not where he was born, not the way that he was dressed, but his teachings, his moral aspect, it is everywhere. And it is for everyone since he came. That's why we cannot go back and say, I had no better. I didn't know any better. We know already. That's why in the Spiritist book also, the Spirit explains to us that the law of God, it's written in our conscience. So we cannot really deny, not anymore, after 20 centuries of Christianity, as Emmanuel says to us. And also, in the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 19, item 3, the spirits, they say, calmness during the struggles is always a sign of strength and confidence, whereas, on the contrary, violence denotes weakness and self-doubt. So that person who is calm, who is dealing with life, you see sometimes people, especially when you go to poor areas, not only in Brazil, but in all other places around the world, you see that really simple person, poor, but that person is happy, that person is doing its best, that person is not complaining, that person is trying to help, even homeless people, trying to help other homeless people with the little they have. But also we see people which they have everything and they still not happy. They have everything, but they don't give one slice of their what they have to someone else. So that's why the Spirit says that, on the contrary, it denotes weakness and self-doubt. And here, the last part in the parable, the apostles, after Jesus stopped the storm, the apostles look to each other and say, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." They look like, what's going on? They start to talk among themselves. And they were asking, who is this man? Then we still have a few minutes here, 10, 15 minutes. I would like to ask to you guys who are watching here, and if you guys want to write down here on Facebook, on YouTube, I would appreciate, of course, if you guys want. But my question is, who is Jesus for you? I'm not asking who is Jesus for Spiritism. This I explained already. Our mentor and guide, our governor, the oldest spirit, the most pure spirit which God gives to us to follow as a model, the Spirit who brought to us all these beautiful, wonderful teachings. But let's go back to ourselves. That's why I'm asking, who is Jesus for you guys? I'm going to give a few minutes here. I'm going to check here what we have here on Facebook. And if you guys want to reply, then we can have a little conversation about it. Okay, let's see here who I have here. Comments. I have here Kaká. I have Robertinha. Kelly giving good morning to us. Suzanne. Alex. Camila. Stephen. Patricia. our great friend from Portugal. Up, that's Patricia. That's other Patricia. That's also other good friend of us. And tomorrow is her birthday, guys. So you guys can say happy birthday to her, okay? Yes, Patricia. Sorry, I said. We have here our great friend from Portugal, Rodolfo. We have here Vera Alice. Tudo bem, Dona Vera? Cassia, who used to work here with us. Now she's in the UK. We have here Ayla. I'll have here Sylvia, who is not here in Dublin anymore. I think she's in Portugal. Hi, Sylvia. We have here Sonia also. I'm not sure she's still in Dublin. We have here Gisele. Thanks, Gisele, for the translation. I hope I said thank you. But Gisele said something quite nice here. Jesus to me is a best friend. That's more or less the way in which I see also Gisele, as my best friend. As someone that whenever I'm in trouble, sometimes I go and say, hey, come on, have you forgotten me? Come over here, please. Just trying to remind you that I'm here. But of course, despite of the joke, I see him as someone that whenever I'm in difficult, I really try to look at him and said, please try to give me the strength. Give me the strength. And he's giving the strength to me. But the question is, am I listening what he's giving to me? Am I listening to his voice? But yes, he's our best friend. Stephen said, thanks here. Thanks, Stephen. So that's what we have to, that's the question which for me is quite challenging, Who are we seeing Jesus, Here, Roberta said that since that I started studying Spiritism, Jesus is a kind of my big brother who can help me when I'm struggling. Yes, Roberta, the same as me, as think about the same. Our bigger brother. Yes, like my older brother, Vando. Whenever I used to be little, I used to have a big mouth. As someone knows here, some people, they know that I talk too much. And I used to go and fight with all the older guys in the street because I had a big mouth, And my older brother, always defended me. That's the way which I see Jesus. I'm not saying that Jesus is going to be defending fights, but he's going to sometimes to defend even, he's going to defend myself even from myself. That's why the Spirit sometimes they give to us difficult challenge, not because they don't like us, because they know that if they give everything easy to us in our personality, we may don't do anything really good. Stephen here says to us, our guiding model, focus point, 100%, Stephen. Yes, he's the target. That's why in the Gospel according to Spiritism, we have the Homem de Bem, the good man. I think it's chapter 3, if I'm not mistaken, where we have a huge list of virtues that we should be following to become someone good also. They're quite difficult, by the way, if you guys haven't read, but it's quite difficult. But there is the guide, not the guide, is the plan, is the map for us to go and improve. And Jesus said here, Jesus for me is the most example of our life. Charity, humility, and love. 100% agree with you, Jesus. 100% agree. No better words to describe. Charity, humility, and love. Yes, he came here to try to teach that to us. Suzanne say here, I think as a best friend as well, that helped me all the time. 100% agree against Suzanne. He helps us all the time. Dona Vera saying thank you here. Thank you, Dona Vera. We are thankful for your help, especially there, bringing your delicious food to us on Sundays. Unfortunately, not going to see your foods anytime soon, but once we are open, more food. Nage say he's my friend, my example, my hero. Beautiful, Nage. I agree. And here comes hero, because he come to save me when I need. True? He's the one. And guys, since our time is running, I'm really thankful if anyone right here, I'm gonna show here, but one thing that we have to bear in mind, why I asked here, who is Jesus for you? Because unfortunately, and I respect 100%, and anyone who is in the Spiritist movement or anyone who is in any kind of other religion, they should respect also. Some people, they still believing that Jesus is like a bombril, a mood cleaner. You make your mistake, you pray, and everything is vanished. Everything is clean. You go there, you make the same mistake again, you pray, and everything is all right. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And even it is even written in the Gospels of Jesus, in the Bible, when Jesus says to us that until we fix everything, until the last dot, basically he's saying to us, until we don't fix everything that we have done, we're not going to go to the next level. So let's not think that Jesus is this being which does everything for us. That once we ask, and he's going to give it to us, because some people, they're asking for stupid things. With all respect, sorry for the word is stupid, but sometimes it is. That's why if you're a father, if you know your kid likes to be watching war games with violence, doesn't matter. I'm not judging parents also who allow their kids to watch or to play these kind of games. But if you are seeing in your children that your son has this kind of inclination for violence, are you going to give to him a gun? Are you? That's what I'm trying to say, that sometimes we ask things for Jesus, for God, that won't help us. That's why it's not a matter of only asking to God and Jesus that he's going to give to us. He's not a giver. He's not our slave to be giving things to us. He's going to be supporting us in everything that we need. And perhaps once we are in a difficult situation, or if you are really poor, like Lazarus, parable that Jesus said, the poor man Lazarus and the rich man. Lazarus, a poor man who suffered his entire life. Once he passes away, he goes straight to higher spheres. So we have to understand that sometimes we ask, and nature, God doesn't give to us because it's not going to be good for us. And Kellen says here, Jesus is my brother, guide, psychologist, and the best spirit to comfort me and help me. Yes, I like the part of psychologist. Thanks, Kellen. Yes, there are a lot of books. I have one here somewhere here, which is called Jesus, the greatest psychologist. Yes, a lot of psychologists nowadays, they're studying the gospel of Jesus to see this psychological aspect, because he was always trying to see people in their best way possible. He wasn't judging anyone. And that's what psychology is teaching us to do it nowadays, that we should try to be kinder to one another, that sometimes we judge people in their vices and issues because we have that vices and issues ourselves, But yes, guys, just so we are closing here in the next 5 minutes. I'm gonna be leaving here for anyone who maybe is in a difficult situation, who would like to receive maybe some psychological help. That's not a spiritist help. That's not a fraternal assistance. That's not atendimento fraterno. That's more related to psychology. We have here friends in Ireland who are psychologists, and some of them, they like spiritism. And so there are other psychologists, which I don't think they believe in spiritism at all, but they are offering this psychological help for those who need. So we have the website here. For those who maybe wants something, let's say, a bit more Brazilian, something that we are more well used to back in Brazil, we have the fraternal gathering or atendimento fraterno, But of course, we're not doing this face-to-face. Everything is done here online. But if you guys want to write, if you need any kind of help, or if you guys any kind of assistance, you guys can email there. Of course, we're not going to be saying to you what you guys have to do. But most of the time, whoever is talking to you by email, or if it was in person, would be listening to you. We are not there to say, and we cannot say what you should do or not do. Doesn't matter if you're using spiritism or psychology. First, we are not psychologists here in the fraternal gathering. So, and even psychologists wouldn't say to you what you have to do. They listen, and you guys do what you guys think it's best. But it's there if you guys want. For those here in Ireland also who maybe is having a difficult time, we have here the Samaritans helpline that if you guys want to call and ask for some help, you guys can find. And here we have also the mental health island.ie. You guys can, if you guys have any kind of, if you guys feel that you guys are having any kind of issue related to mental health, you guys can email to them also. And here we have, let me see here. We have here, what's the name of it? Where is? We have Jackie LD. Good morning from Curitiba, Brazil. God bless you all. Thank you, Jackie. God bless you all. Also back in Curitiba, in Brazil, and everyone. Some people they are thanking here for me, but I say thank you to you guys, and thanks to Spiritism to give me this opportunity to be able not to teach the gospel, because I'm not teaching anyone. I'm learning myself. I don't believe there is anyone, the Spirit Center that we have nowadays here in Ireland, who are in position to teach anything to anyone. We are there to learn. All the workers of Spiritist Society of Ireland, they are learners. We are students. We are there to learn. But perhaps some people like myself, like Stephen, Samantha, Tanya, we had people before like Doug, Eloisa, so many people who passed giving speech to us, Amanda. Those people, they like to talk. That's why they come and they give speeches, but no one there is to teach anything. We are there to learn. Okay, guys, so we're going to be closing with our final prayer. And let me just, that's a picture which I Okay, guys, so I'm gonna do the final prayer again. I can see that you guys couldn't hear me because I took my picture off. I didn't know that would happen. Is the audio working? 1 second, guys. Technical problems. In the end, sometimes it happens. Because I took my picture off. I didn't know that. So you guys can hear me now, correct? The audio working? 1 second, yeah. Guys. Technical problems in the end. Sometimes yes, okay. Now you guys can hear me. So, guys, I'm sorry for this. Sorry, I'm just asking someone, Roberto, to close the door here. Sorry, guys, for this technical problem. But again, that's why, of course, that's not a difficult situation. But sometimes you have to laugh of our own mistakes. Sorry, guys. But I'd like to ask everyone to close our eyes, whoever feels comfortable. I would like to thank the mentors of the Spirit Center in Ireland, all the good spirits who have been supporting Spiritism in Europe, in Brazil, and around the world, all the spirits who have been supporting all religions, all the spirits who have been guiding all of those who don't believe in anything. Let's ask for the higher spirits to guide those people who are in power, who are in charge of nations, cities, who have some kind of power who may affect the others. Let's ask the good spirits to guide them. It's not a difficult task to anyone to be in power of anything. So may God and His good spirits to help them to take the best decisions. Let's ask the good spirits to support all the workers in the hospitals, in the police force, all the workers who are dealing now with the coronavirus, all the workers who deals with people with mental problems. Let's ask the mentors of all the hospitals in the entire world to be supporting those in pain. But also, let's ask our mentor, our closest friend, Jesus, to support and guide us in the difficult times we may face. Let's ask directly to our personal mentor, our guide, to support us. Let's ask to all the good spirits to open our hearts and our minds, not only for the gospel of Jesus, but for all the good teaching that someone may be giving to someone, all the good words that someone maybe is giving to someone who is having a difficult time. All of those with goodwill to help one another. Thank God, and so be it. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, everyone. Again, sorry for this technical problem. We will have our speech on our live on Tuesday. I think it is with Julio, forgot his surname, Julio Carvalho. I'm not sure if it's Tuesday now or next Thursday, but you guys will see that on Facebook. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely Sunday and enjoy it outside. It's beautiful. I would like to enjoy, but I'm going to be working till 10 o'clock. And again, I'd like to take the opportunity here just to, what is it? 2 seconds, guys. To say happy birthday to Patricia. Okay? My dearest friend, happy birthday. And see you guys and all the best. Bye-bye.